Question of the day: do you romanticize your alcohol? So a lot of my female clients do romanticize their alcohol. So hey, I'm Lauren. I'm a sober coach. Hit me up if you want to talk about getting sober, if you're sober curious, because we're doing it a whole lot different over here, where you're not like left with no life because you had to leave behind the one thing that was making your life worthwhile. Nope, we're getting rid of the alcohol and we're building a bigger, better life without it. So anyway, hit me up in my bio if you want to have a free consult. But do you romanticize your alcohol? Are you a person who's a main character walking around in a movie? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you just don't know and you could probably scroll on. But if you are a person who romanticizes aspects or your entire life, stay here. So a lot of people, I have a client and we'll keep it very generic, but she romanticizes life and I do too. And I have a lot of female clients that do. But she was recently out of town in this bougie hotel with this amazing balcony that had this amazing view. I'll keep everything super generic here. And she was romanticizing, after a long, hard day of work and things to do, coming back to the hotel, getting comfortable, pouring a glass of wine and going and kicking your feet up on the balcony to look at this beautiful view from the balcony. And you can see how that sounds like really like, ooh, that sounds amazing. But she's making this whole experience based on the alcohol. The experience is the experience. The wine is not what's romanticizing it. It's really the sunset. It's really the setting. So as a non-drinker, I would romanticize this by, putting on like silky PJs or like a tank top and undies covered by a silk robe, and then kind of walking around in my slippers and being like, aren't I so bougie and fancy? And then I would probably order a drink from downstairs, like a pineapple and Sprite or a ginger beer, something that was like fancier than water, right? Or fancier than my like colored water, which is like my Starburst sugar-free whatever this is. But I would do something different there. But that same scenario, imagine that first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee. Imagine watching the sunset from that view with your feet kicked up with an amazing drink or an amazing book or a podcast, or you're out there doing yoga. So you can romanticize life without the alcohol. But okay, so I have another client, and the minute she would break out those martini glasses, she became like this like uber sophisticated fancy lady with a swag in her butt. She's walking and it's like boom, 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 just very fancy. You almost need like one of those like sticks that you put a cigarette in. That's her. Okay. She's still that person without the alcohol. So my message is, do you romanticize? And if you do, just raise your hand so I know that me and my clients aren't alone. Number two, if you've got that main character energy where you're like driving down the road and you feel like you're in a movie and you're like, this is all set up for me, and you're just like making the best out of your day, and this is really a mindset is what it is. And tell me what you romanticize instead of alcohol. If you're a drinker, are you scared of losing that? If you're a non-drinker, what do you romanticize instead? And so, okay, again, so when I say romanticize, I'm thinking about like, there's a country music video from years ago that I think of specifically as like embodying the romanticizing. So you've just broken up with your boyfriend, you lost your dog and you lost your job, and you're sitting in a diner where coffee's probably 5 cents still, the pie's $1.05 because we're like in the middle of the sticks, right? And it's pouring down rain and you're sitting at the window seat, consoling your cup of coffee, 2 hands, your sleeves are like this, you're just like, it's picturesque. Even though you're depressed and sad, you've made a thing out of it. You're in a movie all of a sudden. So that's what I mean. And can you romanticize the sunset and the setting? And if you're in this fancy hotel, can you just be fancy because you're fancy and not because you have this drink in your hand? I remember coming home from work and like the first thing I would do is like start to uncork a bottle. And as soon as I did, I started to kind of feel like, ooh, yeah. Now that's partly addiction. But I can be like that over a regular meal too. Look, I have ADHD, so I get all sorts of dopamine from having the same meal every day of my life. So I can be making my oatmeal with maple syrup and be like, oh, I'm excited. So what do you romanticize? How can you romanticize even if you're not drinking alcohol or any other drug of your choice? And what tips do you have for people who want to still kind of have that main character energy, but they want to get rid of the poison? Let me know.